Welcome to the latest episode of Real Talk. In the mid-1990s, writer and director Quentin Tarantino had an idea for the ultimate revenge film. It took 10 years, but on October 10th, 2003, he finally released Kill Bill Part 1. He had a vision to create one long revenge flick, but Miramax owner Harvey Weinstein convinced him to make it into two parts. Tarantino only agreed because they would have to edit many key characters and sequences. So, on April 16th, 2004, Kill Bill Part 2 was released. Both did extremely well at the box office, but he never gave up his dream of combining parts 1 and 2 to give the audience his vision of how the film was originally intended to look. 21 years later, on December 5th, 2025, all 275 minutes, or 4.5 hours, with a short 15 intermission break, Tarantino finally released his vision of how he wanted the movie to look. He called it Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. So here to talk about this film and the impact those films had on so many people is friend and Kill Bill aficionado, Luis Ortiz to Real Talk. Louis, how the hell are you?
I'm doing bloody amazing, Rich. How are you doing?
I am doing just as bloody amazing. I'm so
Awesome.
glad to have you on the show because I heard about it before. I knew this was happening, but you, I think, reserved tickets about 5 years ago. You were so excited to see this. I remember saying, Rich, I'm taking it was maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I already have that weekend scheduled off. I'm not doing anything. I'm seeing Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair.
Yeah.
So the question for you is, because
Mhm.
obviously there's an age difference. Did you ever have
Sure.
an opportunity to see Kill Bill Part 1 or 2 in the theater?
No, so I was born in the year 2000 and it was released 2004, so I was a very small child.
Yep.
I Kill Bill was one of the first action movies that I saw growing up. I was maybe 12 when I saw the film. So it was just like a very awe action film to see. Like if you're gonna see anything as a first action film, as a young kid, like Kill Bill is a crazy one. So it has that lasting effect on me in that sense. So I'm happy to have watched it at a young age, and then now to get to experience it in theaters the way that they did it now is well worth it.
Right. I did have a chance to see both in the theater, and then I rented them or bought them over the years, so I did have a chance to
Yep.
see them again. And for me, I am a cinema snob. I love seeing movies in the theater. I really hate watching movies on TV. I mean, I'm so bad where sometimes if a movie is directly to Netflix or Hulu, I don't even give it a chance, which is not fair because probably the movies are good. But I just think of it as it's just a TV movie.
It's probably not good.
Yeah, I like seeing it in a theater, and I love the fact that he never ever gave up his vision of no, I'm going to release it one day. I'm going to make it the way I want to do it. And throughout, I mean, like I said, it was how many years? 2004, and he released in 2025, so 21
Yeah.
years. But so what happened to me, and I was telling you off the air, was that my girlfriend never saw it, so I didn't think I was going to see it in the theaters, and because I was busy. So I saw part 1 and part 2. I went to Cape Cod to visit my family, found out it was playing off the Cape. I said, hell yeah, I'm going to check it out. So I drove the hour, saw it in the theater, and it's funny because even seeing parts 1 and 2 2 days prior, it was just like watching it for the first time again. I was just as excited, just as into it, just as pumped up.
Yeah.
It never gets boring. It never drags. And
Yeah.
I loved, and what's funny is it's 4.5 hours with a 15-minute intermission.
Mhm.
It seemed like it lasted maybe 45 minutes. That's because it just
Same.
goes. So
Yeah.
we'll start off with the differences. So the
Mhm.
first difference I want to talk about is obviously the anime sequence. They added a little bit to that.
For sure. I love that. That to me was the reason why we need to see more Kill Bill anime adaptations in the future. I mean, that alone, I think what it was maybe an added 15-minute sequence,
I think
10,
so,
10,
yeah.
15 minutes, something like that. But man, it just shows like how much of the universe can be built in any anime space for Kill Bill. There's so many stories that can be shown and told. And the way they showcase the action is just so over the top, but it fits so well with anime. And I thought it was awesome. It was one of my favorite added scenes to the movie for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And then the other thing I noticed was at the end of part 1, the last thing, it's like she rolls the girl right down the hill into the hospital,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then you see Bill talking to her, and
Yes.
the last thing he says in part 1 is something about she doesn't know the baby is still alive.
Right.
That part was gone, like in the movie.
Right.
So
They took it away.
they
Yeah.
took it away. So, but I like the fact, and then also in part two, she's riding in the pussy wagon, and
Yep.
she's basically going like giving a recap of what happened in part one. They edited that part, so
Right.
they ended right where she rolled her down the hill into the hospital. Bill mentioned something to her, and it goes into an intermission. And then it starts right off where part two begins. So I love the fact that
Exactly.
so it just melded perfectly together. So yeah, the anime sequence. I want to talk about that because it's all about the Lucy Liu character,
Correct. Yeah.
and what's her name? I have it listed somewhere. Her name in the movie is I'll tell you in a second.
Oh, that would be Oren Ishii.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
And I love the fact that all of them are different kinds of snakes. So
Yeah, exactly. You have the
she's the
assassination
yeah, these
Viper
she's
Squad.
yep, exactly. So she's the cottonmouth. Uma Thurman's the black mamba. Um, Daryl Hannah is the mountain snake. Michael Madsen's the sidewinder, and then Bill is just Bill. And Vivica A. Fox is the copperhead.
Right. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, when watching it, I mean, what are we're talking about anime scene?
Yeah, I want to talk about it because the reason I brought that up originally is because it's all about the Lucy Liu character, and
Right, yeah.
they added a little bit about like it's her as a child, and it shows how she became, why she became who she is now.
Right, that origin story, origin of Oren. I mean, yeah, it's iconic, and when you watch the original, there's a lot of scenes that they've added to add detail into that anime scene as well. They add so much more gore, and so much more effect to it. So I feel like it adds to the detail that was left out in the original. I feel like the original anime was, it was a perfect foundation for it, and adding the extra detail and the gore and those scenes of like, the true Tarantino style and being able to showcase the anime, we need to see more of it. It was, top tier.
Yeah. And the other thing that they changed too, which was funny because in the Japanese and Chinese versions of the film, they kept it normal, but they had to put the whole fight scene with the Crazy 88s in black and white because they were going to make it an NC-17. So he
Right.
brought back all the blood and gore. And I've been watching different things getting ready for this interview, and they had Tarantino quoting back in when they were filming the movies like, I don't want horror movie blood. I want samurai blood.
Yeah, exactly. I just finished watching the other day. I think you mentioned this movie to me for Lady Snowblood.
Yes.
Yes, I watched it and I saw so much of Tarantino's vision, deriving from that movie. I can tell he watched it and just wanted that type of exaggerated blood splatter, blood spray everywhere, type of action. And I could definitely see it, coming from that. So I mean, he shows it fantastically in this movie as well. You see some crazy action scenes that, with the Crazy 88 when it doesn't flip into that black and white and you're seeing truly meant to be. It was awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because that scene. I mean, I that movie, like especially the fight scene between Lucy Liu's character and Uma Thurman. You could definitely tell that he got a lot from that movie, Lady Snowblood. And it's funny
Exactly.
'cause there's so many different movies, and I think we talked about this in the past. I used to get mad at him for this, but now I don't care because
Yep.
he takes these movies and then makes it his own. But I mean, he
Right.
borrowed definitely heavily from The Searchers, Twisted Nerve, Black Sunday, which is a great movie. And if you see, there's definitely they showed side by sides. I don't know if you saw the same thing I saw, but they showed like a split screen, like you and I are right now. And then
Mhm.
actually, it's funny because the original Django was called Django Kill, If You Live, Shoot, Death Rides a Horse, Game of Death, Bruce Lee. Obviously, she's wearing that Bruce Lee yellow
Yeah.
jumpsuit. And
Yep.
Lee Snowblood, like I mentioned. Then another thing that's funny is like because he borrowed heavily from a movie called Once Upon a Time in the West, which is Sergio Leone, and that was obviously Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He borrowed that title to make his last movie. So, but like I said, I am over being mad at stuff like that because I love the stuff he takes from and then makes it his own and puts it into one action-packed movie.
Yeah, after watching Lady Snowblood, I gained like a deeper appreciation for the older films that
Yeah.
Tarantino got that inspiration from. So it almost made me feel like, oh man, I wish I watched these before and gave my gave my respects to the OGs. But in a way, it also, shows that Tarantino had a love for cinema, and he wanted to showcase a story of his own and incorporate, I think, a lot of beautiful pieces of cinema that a lot of us have not, been able to see yet because they're older and not as widely available. But he was able to, captivate audiences by bringing that sort of that same cinematography to his own, which I do appreciate. And I think now that after seeing Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, and seeing it in theaters that way, it was such a great experience that it makes me want to go back and watch those older films because they're just as great.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned some of these older films because what I love about that is that he took several people from these old films and brought them into his movie. One of them is the great Sonny Chiba. I love Sonny Chiba. He's a 70s action star. He's been in everything. And he played, was it?
The Hattori Hanzo?
Thank you. Thank you. I have all
Yeah,
these names written somewhere by 5 pages.
sorry.
But I don't know if you know the story about this. What I love about that is that he played in a Japanese TV show that Quentin used to watch as a kid called Shadow Warriors. And
Okay.
every episode, he was a Tori Hanzo. But then in one episode, he'd be a Tori Hanzo. Then they would do next season, he'd be a Tori Hanzo 2. Then the next season, be a Tori Hanzo 3. So in this movie, he made him a Tori Hanzo 100.
Nice.
So
That's
he
badass.
So he was he was a character that he played, and the other one is the one he played two different characters. One, he was the leader of the Crazy Eights, and he also played Pai Mei. Uh, I'll get that name too. He's been
Awesome.
it's Gordon Liu. Gordon Liu
Gotcha.
is another great actor from those old stuff. And you know it's funny because the character Pai Mei, and then you can look this up. He's that character has been in so many of these old. They used to be called the Shaw Brothers movies. There was like this martial arts. The two brothers put out all these martial arts movies, and Pai Mei. Gordon Liu used to always fight Pai Mei, so this time he got to be Pai Mei.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. I like that.
yeah. And then he also played like I said, I forgot what his name in the movie was, but he was the leader of the Crazy 88s in the first part, and then in the second part he played Pai Mei. Or actually, no, yeah, he was in the second part, right? Yeah,
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think, oh, so I didn't realize he played both guys.
yeah. I'm trying. Neither did I until I started doing the research on this. I'm like, wait,
That's insane.
that is, yeah. He said he loves bringing like two great actors and having played different characters. The other one is
Yeah.
Michael Parks. Michael Parks has done everything in the 70s, and that was one of Quentin's favorite actors. And it's funny because I think you and I talked about this. You're a Kevin Smith fan, right?
Kevin Smith. Yes, 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 yes.
Clerks, Mallrats, but
Yep.
he did a movie. I think it was probably one of his best movies called Red State, and Michael Parks was the lead character in that. But he gave Quentin a print of that, and Quentin goes, "Oh my God, you gotta come over to the house!" And he's showing me like these reels of like he had a loop of all the great Michael Parks movies and all different things, and he goes, "Where the hell did you get this?" He goes, "Oh my God, it's one of my favorite actors." You know, Quentin talks a mile a minute, is always like
Yeah.
super enthusiastic. And if you don't know, Michael Parks is the one who played. He played the sheriff in the first part, or like we'll just say Whole Bloody Fair. So in
Yeah.
the beginning, he played the sheriff, but then in part two, which is the second half of of Whole Bloody Fair, he played Esteban. Esteban was in
Really?
the brothel. Yep, that's the same guy.
No way.
Yep. And
It does not seem like the same guy.
I know. I didn't. You know, it's funny because as I'm watching the movie, because I said I haven't seen it in years. I watched it and then I just watched it right before it came out, and then I said, Why does he sound so familiar?" And then I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Michael Parks." So I looked it up just to confirm it, and it was.
Wow, he does like two totally different accents. Like
Yes.
it's just two totally different guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
Yeah. So that's why I love the fact that he took all these people that were so popular in the 70s and brought them back. He does that with all his films. And we
Yeah.
actually have a former Claus Corner guest in the film, Bo Svensson. He played in he was the one in the wedding scene. He was putting the wedding together. And he goes, Mom, what do you think about this? Or Mother, what do you think about
Yeah,
this?
yeah, that's right. They owned the chapel, or
Yeah.
yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
so
Wow.
he was in the original, well, not the original. He was the second Buford Pusser in the Walking Tall movies and a bunch of different. Actually, he was in the original Inglorious Bastards. I have that on video. It's an Italian movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so he
amazing.
brought it back. So like, but you know, I'm so glad. Again, he did make parts one and two originally because I was reading up on this and I found out all the different parts they were Weinstein wanted him to cut out if they were going to make it one because they wanted to make it a 3 hour movie instead of 4.5 hours. They wanted to
Wow.
cut basically most of the anime sequence, which right then and there, I know that would destroy you.
That yeah, that was like the one of the best parts of the film. I think most people like
Yeah.
remember that,
Oh yeah.
that scene, those scenes alone.
But then he said Pai Mei was supposed to be gone. The whole Pai Mei sequence,
Oh,
like,
that's insane.
yeah, I mean, that's where she gets all her training. That's where she becomes,
Yeah,
proficient in.
that's an iconic scene, training scene in general. That's up there.
Yep. And then, remember Michael Madsen working at the titty bar, and his boss said,
Yeah,
"Take
yes.
that fucking hat off."
I love that.
That was gone. They didn't even want that.
Oh
And he goes,
no,
and even Tarantino says, "That's what scenes like that is what develops the character. That's what makes you
for
care about
sure.
this character." And you know what's funny about that scene? I don't know if you know about this. I love this. I always love like watching movies and hearing behind the scenes because
Yes.
he came. That was a real hat that Michael Madsen owned. He came onto the
Yes.
set, and Tarantino's like, "Yeah, you're not going to be wearing that, are you?" No, I just like to wear that. You know how he talks. I just like,
Yeah.
and then, so he goes, you know what? Keep it on. I like it. So he didn't tell Madsen anything. He had that. He wrote all the dialogue about that. Get that fucking hat, shit kicking hat off. He says when you watch him react to it, that was really him reacting because he goes, "What the hell's going on?"
He's
Okay.
like, damn, all right, I'll take it off. Yeah.
I love that.
That made that scene. Yeah. And it shows his character's like not in the same position as he was. It kind of shows like he's kind of, belittled, he's at the bottom where before he was at the top, where he's traveling around the world killing people, making a
Yeah.
ton of money. But he's kind of okay with being in that life. I think he enjoys the mundaneness.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of settled down now, but yeah, it makes so much sense to keep that in, and it just adds so much to Bill's brother's character just to, have that and expand on that. Just that's how Tarantino's films, that's how they go. Those side characters kind of add to the world, and you want to know more about those characters, by themselves.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why I'm always like I know people that love action. I love action too, but I love great character development, and that's why when I've
Absolutely.
heard people say, "Yeah, part one was the good one, and then part two was the boring one." I said, "No, they were actually both great.
Yeah.
It's just that like the second one, the first one set up, and then the second one showed you why all of this happened, and I love that
Yeah.
because like then you actually begin to, all right, well, I hate this asshole. Right now, I understand why this character did it, and like you care about all these
Right.
characters, you understand what
Yep.
their motivation was. So I
Yeah.
was not bothered. Like I remember somebody said this, I laughed so hard. Yeah, whenever I watch The Shining, I fast forward to the good parts. I said, "What the hell are you talking about? It's all about the slow burn, the build up."
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah,
And I feel like Kill Bill Volume 1 is almost the super exaggerated ultra violence kind of callback to the older samurai films like Lady
yeah,
Snowblood, where it's just exaggerated blood violence. You're getting those super very beautiful shots, but at the same time just ultra violence happening with it. And I feel like volume 2 almost kind of takes a step back, and it almost becomes a little bit more of that, waiting for those crazy scenes. I mean, the fight scene with her and Ellie Driver alone
oh yeah,
in the second part is just like awesome. Like it's an amazing one-on-one sword fight inside of Bill's brother's RV. It's amazing. But with something like that, you're not going to get the same maybe effect as killing all Crazy 88, killing Gogo, getting to Oren, having that single fight scene. It's a little bit simmered down, but every action scene you get to just feels so much more worth it. And then in the end, you have that one-on-one finally with Bill, which you get the payoff of the revenge. So they're both different films in their own way, but they're both amazing.
Oh yeah.
Both have just as good of violence and action.
Well, what I love about that scene, like you said, with El Driver and the Black Mamba, or should I say, Beatrix Kiddo.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I love it's like the whole movie is like Bill's calling her, all right, Kiddo. You think he's just being like using that thing? You don't realize that that's actually her last name because they bleep
Yeah,
out her name for the longest time. She's just the bride.
exactly.
Like, boom, boom. It's like then finally you realize that yeah, she's Beatrix Kiddo.
Yep.
But the fact that he is bitten by the Black Mamba, which is her nickname, so he's basically killed by
Yeah,
by
he's
Uma
still
Thurman when he
killed by
does.
her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she still gets her way, her revenge in the end.
And he was saying that he was paying because I didn't see this movie, so I don't know the movie with Harrison Ford and set in sci-fi. I know you like Blade Runner. I
Blade
guess
Runner, yeah.
she's Daryl Hannah, I guess, is in this, and there's one scene where she's just screaming and convulsing. I guess he tried
Yes,
to.
yes.
He was paying homage to that scene when she ripped out her eyeball.
I see. Okay, yeah. I can see that now. Yeah, and Blade Runner, she's like a android, synthetic, and she starts going crazy, almost like, if her wires were all mangled up and she's going haywire and her body's going crazy. So yeah, I can see the correlation between those two. That's pretty cool. And they're both of their characters kind of are very similar, so
Oh yeah, no, I love that scene. I love Daryl Hannah's character, and that's another one. I can't think. I think I showed you before, but I can't remember the name of it. It's like They Call Me Left Eye or something. But there's a woman. It's a '70s revenge
yes.
film, and she has one
Yeah, I
has
remember you telling me that.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's another one that you would love. But he sort of based that character on her and then made it his own. Uh,
Cool. I will watch
going,
that. Yes.
I was going through some of the people he originally wanted for Bill because I'm sure you know who David Carradine was. He was the star of Kung Fu, so he knew martial arts at least a little bit.
Okay.
And he originally he wanted Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner said, "No, I'm not interested." And then he wanted Warren Beatty, who Warren Beatty said, "Yeah, I just don't have time to learn martial arts. Sorry
Hmm.
about that." So I don't mean maybe it would have worked out. I just think David Carradine was the perfect choice for that because another
Yeah,
one like he's known for the '70s kung fu, and he could bring that to this movie because that's it's sort of like a '70s revenge flick, which I love.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what's funny? And I heard this. Tarantino said this, and I'm so glad that didn't happen. He said he trained for about 3 months. He was going to play Pai Mei. He started learning martial arts. I'm like, oh, thank
Oh
God you did.
man.
Thank God.
Yeah, I don't know. That scene may not have the same effect. Yeah, that wouldn't be great. I would have loved to see Tarantino as a character in the films because I don't think he ever comes out. Maybe he's one of the crazy 88 guys that gets
Yeah.
killed. Like he might have some sort of like appearance as one of those guys. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's never wasn't in this film or in any of the volumes, which I think he almost makes an appearance in almost a lot of his films.
Yeah, I think basically up because I mean originally he wanted to be an actor. He was in TV shows like The Golden Girls. I mean, you can see. I remember seeing him back in the '90s, like when
Yep.
From Dusk Till Dawn came out, and he always wanted.
Mhm.
So then finally nobody would hire him as an actor, so he started writing his own scripts so he could put himself in the
Mhm.
movies. And then afterwards, I think he just became more like, all right, I'm just gonna be a filmmaker, and I don't need to
Yeah.
be in every movie. So I think maybe the last movie I saw him in was what's the probably Django Unchained. If he had a small part in there, but I don't remember. I don't think he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, he played an Australian
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. So it worked. But I guess the actor who played Pai Mei was
Mhm.
he was more of a choreographer in the set because Wu Ping is it Wu Ping? He's the one that did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He's the one that did
Yes,
all the choreography.
yes.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
but
that's perfect.
but Gordon Liu was also on the set helping out, and then they're like, since you're here, why don't you act in it? So it was great. And Sonny Chiba was actually teaching Uma Thurman how to use the swords. And then she said, "Oh my God," he just kept putting his head down like this girl's never going to learn it. And then that's when finally he was like, "Why don't you be in the film?" And it just because
Oh, that's
I was
perfect.
watching the making of it. It was funny because they said, "Let me see if I can find it." They had like English to Japanese translators, English to Chinese translators, Japanese to English translators, Japanese to Chinese translators. I mean, all over set. Like Quentin would say something, he had like four different people just explaining to the cast and crew exactly what was going on. Because they were filming all over the. Like I think they filmed what in Tokyo and then Beijing. I think they filmed in.
Yeah, that's right. I know yeah, there's a lot of kung fu in the movie, so I think Pai Mei is he Chinese?
I think he. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he might be Chinese. I can look that one up right now. I'm pretty sure he is.
Right? Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's I mean, I'm trying to think of other kung fu films that could have been inspired by Kill Bill that I've been meaning to watch because I've noticed that on HBO Max, I've just been trying to find like the best streaming service. The HBO Max is so far like the best for having old samurai films and just
Oh
like
yeah,
Criterion Collection stuff.
I
And I
love that
keep
stuff.
seeing these kung fu films pop up, and every time I see, 'em, I'm like, that's like Pai Mei right there,
Yeah,
like right on this thing. So I already know there's just so many films I'm sure that Tarantino has just like gone into and obviously I think the training scene is filmed in was that in China?
I think so. Yeah. So
Right.
I mean, remember watching on like very recently watching the making of it, and I think that was in China. Or,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, and this is what another thing that makes this movie. I mean, not only the acting, the actors in it, the choreography, but the music. We got to talk about RZA and Wu-Tang Clan and how he got involved with that because that music is probably I think one of his best out of all his movies.
Yeah, when I think about just the overall soundtrack, I couldn't help but notice another reference to Lady Snowblood with the theme song for Lady Snowblood is played at the end of the movie when Beatrix finally kills Oren. That plays and it's just it fits so perfect.
Yeah.
And then listening to it in the original movie, it still had that same like deep dramatic effect. So he picked a lot of fantastic songs and the crazy song that plays every time she meets eye to eye with the person, it's like that crazy siren. It's iconic sounds, the whistle, everything is perfect. So Tarantino definitely has the right music choices in his films. He always does a really good job for that.
And how that happened was because I guess for some reason Tarantino was doing promotion for the movie Iron Monkey, and he
Okay.
saw RZA there, and he goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, "Well, they started talking about movies," and he goes, "Oh, they." He said every time Tarantino would say something, he would say, "Oh man, I saw that one too. I got this," and then RZA would be explaining, like, "Oh man, I got the VHS copy of this." He goes, I got the 35 millimeter film." He goes, "Oh shit!" So they were going back and forth. They knew like they were like just they knew every old
Yeah.
movie, and they had such great. So he goes, "Can you produce the soundtrack like you produced Wu-Tang Clan? Because I would love that." And so they did like that. Nah, nah, nah. I think it's from the movie The Searchers because I was watching it. They had a
Okay.
split screen, but I mean, like, so they were taking like these different things and just borrowing them and putting. But yeah,
Nice.
it's I'm glad you brought that scene up because I love that music. Every time she's looking at it and thinking of the past,
It's just like, yeah, you can feel that like hatred, that like anger building up inside, and it's just like rising and rising, and then finally lets it out and it's going into full, fight action mode. So it's perfect. Yeah, he did a really good job with doing that. It sets the tone.
and you know who did this? I don't know if you know this, but you know who did the music for the second half of the movie? That was
No.
Robert Rodriguez. Robert
Ah,
Rodriguez, who they've been friends forever. I mean, they did From Dusk Till Dawn together, but also they did a movie called Four Rooms together. But then he's mostly known for Spy Kids, so many other great movies. But
nice.
actually, what's the movie with El Mariachi, which with became the American versions, which I can't think of the names of right now. But he did music for all his films, and he was Quentin. I would love to help you with the music. I'm only going to charge you $1. So he charged him $1 and he did the second half of the movie. But RZA helped out in the second part. But if you notice, like the second part is more not as over the top. It's more mellow.
Very chill. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it definitely has a chiller tone to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Robert. This for some reason I hate when my mind goes blank like this, but I'll tell you exactly which movie I'm talking about.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
known for El Mariachi, Desperado,
Desperado.
Time
There
in
we go.
America,
Yeah.
Mexico. Um, yeah, so he did like all his own music for all his own films because just like how Tarantino started off, he goes, I got to do everything myself. He was the writer, the editor, the producer, the
Yep.
composers. So he did everything, and because he didn't have any money, and then he's in the Guinness Book of World Records because El Mariachi he made just for fun because he wanted to get practice, and some festival picked it up, and it became the highest grossing movie at the lowest budget. So he's in the Guinness Book of World Record for that.
Wow. It's impressive.
Yeah. But for people who are watching this, if you haven't seen Tarantino's older movies, check out a movie called Four Rooms. It stars Tim Roth as a bellhop, and he goes from room to room. And back then, they were Quentin, Robert Rodriguez, and two of their other friends who used to always work together. They each room has a different story.
Yeah, definitely have to watch that one. I know I remember you meant talking about that one before too. So there's so many on my watch list, and then I keep finding other movies.
Oh, I
So
know. Oh yeah,
it's definitely it's gonna come up at some point.
yeah. It's funny because I mean I in the 70s, I grew up watching all those old martial arts flicks. It was on back then. It was on the near station Channel 5 and Channel 11. And I remember a lot of these, but I don't remember my name. So I have a feeling I saw a lot of those without even realizing I
Yeah.
saw them. Because I remember like my parents used to take us to driving. So in the 70s, drivings were a big thing we used to watch. There's this one movie. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, please let me know. So my brothers and I have been looking for this. Can't find it anywhere. The last scene, this martial arts artist takes the guy in his hand, rips out his heart, and the last scene is he's got the guy's heart in his hand. The guy just drops. I want to see that movie again. I loved
That's
it.
awesome.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, if I'm gonna find that for you somehow,
please do.
some way, I will find it.
I looked everywhere for that.
That's sick. I feel like that has to be like a Dumb and Dumber reference, or Dumb and Dumber took that from
Yeah,
that scene. I don't know if you remember that, but
I vaguely I saw that movie when it came out in the theaters. I never saw it again, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. Jim Carrey puts his hand through a guy's chest and rips out his heart and puts it in a food bag and gives it to
Oh,
the
I do remember that now. Yeah, it took me
guy.
a second. And the other thing I love is that scene was the before the fight when with Lucy Liu and the Crazy 88s that has the band playing the five six
Yeah,
eight.
that's right. Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep.
Do you know the story of that?
No, I don't.
Oh, I love this story. He said he was filming in Japan. He was just walking around. He was looking for cool places. And he went to this Japanese clothing store, and there was this CD playing. He goes, "Who the hell is this?" He goes, "Oh, it's 5, 6, 7, 8. I got to buy this." "Well, it's the store copy. We can't give it to you." "No, no. If I have to go to Target, wherever the store was in Japan," he goes, "I'm gonna forget about it. I'm never gonna do it. I need to buy this now." He goes, "No, I really can't." He goes, "I better call the owner." He goes, "Call the owner now." He got the owner on the phone. He goes, "I will give you money. You get the CD at the store and give me the CD now." And he said because of that, he got them for the movie, and he said, "Man, if these chicks are as cool as the songs are, I'll see if they'll do my movie." And they did, and they played in that scene, which is great because as they're playing, you have like that
Awesome.
one long scene where they're walking and just,
Yes.
and then she's hiding up on the rafters, like on the ceiling.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, they no, he did an awesome job with that too. Like I remember even listening to the soundtrack and having those songs in it, and they're good songs. Like they like it actually sounds good, and it fits that scene with like the kind of club vibe, everyone having a good time, and she's just walking in and having this badass, entrance. So it fits perfectly. Yeah.
Tarantino made a great analogy, and I want your opinion on this because similar to what George Lucas and Steven Spielberg did with Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they took their favorite 1940s serials and sort of made them. They took the best out of the 40s serials and then made a great movie out of all of that. That's what he wanted to do with the genres because he this is the genres I had to write down because all the different movies he said he borrowed from. He took grindhouse exploitation, samurai movies, spaghetti westerns, Italian giallos, which is I don't know if you've ever seen those. Those are police stories. It's like more of a crime
Okay.
drama because there's
Okay.
Lucio Fulci. If you ever watch his movies, he does a lot of giallos. He has a Brian De Palma scene, which they did the split. It's the scene that was more like Brian De Palma was when L Driver was going to kill Beatrix in the hospital when she's in a
I
coma.
see.
And if the
Yes.
he Brian De Palma did a scene just like this, he brought from that, and he said that he wanted to do what Spielberg and Lucas did for 40 serials to all those genres.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. I could definitely see that. I can see the spaghetti Western style of the movie for sure, where it kind of gets that, you know, eye to eye Western, where they're kind of staring each other down, but you have that samurai, sword fighting. So I've always felt those two for the spaghetti Western and the samurai films.
Yeah.
Grindhouse for sure, where you have those like the ultra violence. Even with the deleted scene in the movie where Beatrice cuts the other arm off of Sophie in the trunk of
Yeah.
the car. It threw me off. My heart almost jumped out because I was not ready for it. So she just like chops off and the blood is spraying everywhere. Like that is just like very disturbing. It's very gory, but over the top in a way where it's kind of fun.
Oh
So
yeah.
I can see that kind of mixing in with the rest of the other stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things I was doing research on was because when he mentioned, he goes, "I don't want horror movie blood. I want samurai blood." He said they use 1,500 liters of fake blood, and he wanted to do it like the Japanese movies used to do it. He goes, "I hate CGI. I want to do it just like they do." And what they would do is take condoms filled with fake blood, and then they would explode them. So that's what it was like. There was when they hit them, the condoms would explode and the blood was spewing all over the place. So I love that because
That's perfect.
it was just like you said, it's just fun. It's like I don't know why the MPA is so uptight. Where it's like, come on, who's going to be looking at that going, oh my God, I'm so offended. If they are offended, then walk out.
Yeah, exactly. Don't watch it if you don't like it. And when it's like that, I mean, it does make it fun. It doesn't make it feel like, they're trying to make it super surreal and they want you to believe that this guy actually got cut by samurai side, what it would look like if he did. No one really cares. We want to see, an arm flying off and a bunch of blood, coming along with it. And which he does, and it's awesome. And we want to see that kind of crazy over the top action. Like we don't mind that. I think sometimes people get lost in what the audience cares about. And I think, realism isn't always, what we care for. We kind of want something where it's a little bit unbelievable, but we get to see it in front of our eyes instead. So it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody goes into a Tarantino film thinking like, oh, this is gonna be a great romantic comedy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, you're gonna see some fucked up shit. So
One of my favorite characters, and you can remind me of the name on that, was Lucy Liu's bodyguard, that young girl.
go go.
Oh yeah, she kicked some
Uh,
serious ass. I loved her, and then
uh,
and then like that part when she's asking the guy at the bar, "Hey, you want to have sex with me?" Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
She
then,
was like, "Do you want to penetrate me?" She's
oh,
like,
that's
"How
what it
about I
was. Yeah.
penetrate you?" And she stabs him with the sword. It's sick. I think she's playing like a 16-year-old, which is insane. So she's supposed to be like this like teenage girl who's just like fucked up. And we even get to see her sister's origin story at the very, very, very end of the film, which is an adaptation made from the game Fortnite. So it's, a little bit different from the rest of the film in terms of like the animation style. But it's still awesome to see, two crazy ass, teenage sisters that are psychopaths. So it's sick.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I brought this up because you're the one that told me about this. And what exactly? Because didn't wasn't that in a game, the origin story of the sister?
Yeah, so it ended up becoming a clip or that scene that you see at the end of the movie is in the game. So you go through a theater experience in the game where you can walk around and see the 3D models of the characters. And then you go into a movie theater and watch that scene. It's censored, which is funny. So the a lot the essentially the swear words are censored. But in the actual theatrical release, Go-Go sister Yuki is actually saying the swear word. So I kind of like that. It's a little bit more true to Tarantino. And again, Fortnite is I appreciate that they were able to bring back that scene. That's been talked about for a while. Um, and it's cool to see it come into fruition. I wish it was taken a little bit more serious for the film, just because it has a lot of like kind of wacky characters from the Fortnite universe. But it's, if you kind of push that away, it's an awesome, short to get, and some anything additional Kill Bill related is a treat. So
Oh
I'll
yeah.
take it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now just refresh my memory. Where was that at the end of the film? Where they have
Uh,
that
They had at the very end, like
after
after
the credits?
all the credits. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't think I stayed for the. Oh, wait, no, actually I did. I was trying to think if I stayed for the credits. Okay, now I remember.
Yeah, yeah. It was at the very end. And
Yeah,
again, like you can watch it, like it was available online. I think the one thing that was nice is that they added the swear words at the end, which
yeah.
is
Okay.
cool.
And Tarantino made, and I'm sort of glad did this in a way because, like I said, I'm kind of a snob when it comes to this. He said he doesn't think he's going to release it for streaming or release it for DVD because he goes,
Mm.
I just want that to be a theatrical experience, and that's how I intended everybody to see it, and I really don't care if people see it any other way. Which, I mean,
Yeah,
he's at the point where he's not really trying to get any money from that, so it's not. He's
sure.
just doing it because he wants people to enjoy it. But I mean, it would be nice because I wouldn't mind seeing the full 4.5 hour version again.
Oh yeah, I'd love to own it physically. I'm a big believer in physical media and like
Yeah,
holding on to, retaining onto physical media so it doesn't get lost with like digital formats, just kind of having them and then kicking things off and then saying, oh, okay, licensing is gone, no one can have it. I think it's, a bunch of crap. So I love having like physical Blu-rays. I still think, there's a ton of people who still love having physical media. So it'd be great to see it come out in 4K Blu-ray to enjoy at home and get all the extra scenes, or if you want to watch it without the extra scenes, but still together, or however they want to have, people's viewing pleasure at home for. So I hope they really do release it
yeah.
physically.
I'm sure. I think he will because sometimes I think that Quentin likes to talk a lot, but then I think when it comes down to probably the studio, whoever, like, yeah, we're gonna release it just because people.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, like for Fortnite of all things to get Tarantino to release and make this story come out, like he had years to release this. Like there's some, I'm sure any animation company would have been happy to get the rights to Kill Bill and make the animated scene. I think it's a little bit of the money that
Yeah.
Epic Games was able to come out with, and also coinciding with the release of the whole bloody affair. I think it just kind of made sense, and they were the ones to fork up the most cash. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that he kind of comes to that realization of like, okay, maybe just have it come out, make some extra money because it'll sell. People will
Oh
buy
yeah.
it.
And I'll definitely be one of those. I would definitely
Yeah,
buy that because I bought the other two. I bought parts one and two, and I would definitely like to add
yeah.
that to my collection. So I have most of Tarantino's films on DVD. I'm with you too. And James from what's that TV, that reality show that he's on? Uh,
Love
you
on
know,
the Spectrum.
yes, James from
Yes.
Love on the Spectrum. He and I have this conversation every time he's on the show. He loves buying the physical product because he goes, one day that it'll disappear from streaming and you'll
Yeah,
never have it again. He goes,
I
I
believe it.
buy everything because I've had him a couple times on this show for real talk, and then we talked about movies all. Every time we talk about movies, that comes up. So I'm
Yeah,
with you and James on that. I think that
for sure.
buying the physical copy. I was surprised though, and I could be wrong. Did you see Tarantino do any publicity for this at all? I really didn't see anything.
So, I mean, as far as like ads and trailers goes, no. I mean, it was presented on Fortnite, so if any gamers out there were, playing, they saw, but I mean, the audience for Fortnite is a pretty young crowd for the most part. I mean, I play from time to time, so I know about it as well. So there's definitely an audience for it. But yeah, no, I only saw the trailer that released online and, just from people talking. So I think it really was just kind of like if if you love Kill Bill, you're gonna watch it, or if you haven't watched it yet and you just love theater experiences, you're gonna go out and watch it. So I feel like it was a kind of not well known, but I think it's well known enough to already have an audience that's gonna come and watch it anyways.
Yeah, I think the only publicity which it worked in his favor in a way was when he made the comment about some actors not being that good. And
Yeah.
but I personally, I mean, I don't think
Uh,
you have to go out and call out everybody. Like, all right, I think I'm going to be a little controversial now here in Real Talk. If I
yeah,
could
I
pick,
mean,
no,
yeah.
I'm saying, I would pick Pauly Shore, Adam Sandler, Keanu Reeves, and as worst actor, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I think we got a conversation going with that one there. No, I think Tarantino's a critic himself. I think he's just the kind of guy that just like he can't help but like put his 2 cents in about something.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Um, that's just how he is. Like he makes films, but also like he reviews films. Like he watches films, he critiques them. I'm sure he has like his opinions. He's just kind of has that about him. But if he's talking about you, that probably means you're doing something right in this space. That means you're out there and he sees you at least. So I would
Exactly.
take it as a compliment. Yeah,
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of let Tarantino talk his talk,
I know. I would love
whatever.
I would love for him to tell me that I suck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, me too. Hey, as long as he knows about me, sure. I love Tarantino, so let him come at me. Heck yeah.
But that was the only real like when that interview was. I think he was on some podcast right before the Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair was released, and that sort of like took over the hype. But in a way, it sort of worked out in his way because people that got people even more talking about. Oh, that's coming out. Yeah, I gotta check it out. When I saw it,
Yep.
when you saw it in the theater, was it packed? Because it was sold out
Full
twice.
theater.
Yeah,
Full theater.
I'm so
Yeah,
happy about it.
absolutely.
Yeah, mine was when I was on Massachusetts, right off the Cape, as I mentioned. It
Okay.
was a small theater, but the place was the first show was sold out. The second show I went to was, if it wasn't sold out, was very close, and then the third one I think
Yeah.
was sold out. So it didn't play that long. I don't know why, like maybe a couple weekends.
Yeah, I think it maybe went for 2 weeks, maybe
Yeah,
2 weekends. But my theater was fully sold out. I mean, even the seats like in the very, very front were taken up. So it was on. I went to the AMC theater in Plainville, and I mean it was packed. And I even checked out the other times just to see like what it would look like, even for the later showings that the movie would end up ending at like midnight, But even those were filled. So I mean, the audience was there for it. I think if anything, it showed Tarantino that if he wanted to do a volume three of Kill Bill or even a prequel or some more anime adaptations for Kill Bill, like that, he will be successful in that. The audience wants it.
yeah. I mean, his whole thing is that I'm only making 10 movies and that's it. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I know he wants to get into writing, which I did read several of his books, and his books were great. Like he did a novelization of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was really good.
Hmm.
Basically, it's the movie with the deleted scenes. If you saw the deleted scenes,
Okay.
that's basically the book. And then there's one which, as you mentioned, he's a critic. He talks about all the great movies of the '70s and how
Hmm.
his mother's boyfriend used to take him to all these movies. That's how he got into it. But so yeah, I think he said he wants to get more into that. And then I know he was supposed to make a movie called The Critic, which is funny because we
Hmm.
mentioned that he likes to be the critic.
Right.
But I guess that got leaked online, so he's scrapping that.
Hmm.
Do you know what the latest is?
So, like his latest project.
Yeah, because the last I heard was The Critic, and he scrapped that because of it leaked. Which I never. I mean, if it's out there somewhere, I never saw it.
Yeah, I know that he did talk about Kill Bill Volume 3. Like that's always kind of been the talk of, in the Tarantino space. So I do hope that if it does come out, I don't mind if he releases it in a book. Like I love reading, so I
Me too.
wouldn't mind, reading a book from Tarantino and seeing that, just whatever vision he has in mind, just have it written down and come out and just let our minds kind of run wild with it. But I really think there is with this, the whole Bloody Affairs release, there's definitely the space to do
Oh yeah.
more Kill Bill stuff. And I think Uma Thurman, being around and still, fitting for the character, and a ton of the actors and actresses from the original films still being in love with it and wanting to be a part of it. There's been interviews where there's been actors that have said like, yes, like I want to come back, like, or we have to see what happens for volume three. like let's do it. I think, the fans want it. I think he should just, do something with the Kill Bill movies while, we still have everyone here and everyone is still attached to it, the way they are now in this generation.
Oh, exactly. Well, perfect example of that was he was supposed to in Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. Michael Madsen's character and John Travolta's character are brothers, and he was going to make a movie about their origin story, and then he never did, and then Michael Madsen just died, so he couldn't do it. And I'm not sure if you know the story about Uma Thurman. We're going to get into like how she got mad at him for a little while, but she's over that.
Yep.
But I guess he brought this idea up to her during Pulp Fiction, so it'd be about in that '93 when the movie came out in '94. And
Yeah.
he's like, I got this great movie, and you're perfect for it. And she said it was her idea because how about like in the opening scene, you close up on her, then you pan out, and then you see her in a wedding dress. And he said that was the idea of him to write The Bride. So over the
Mm.
years, they kept running into each other, and it's like he was doing Jackie Brown, she was doing whatever she was doing, and she'd bring it up. What about that revenge film? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Then she said, I guess one time they were at a James Brown, no, yeah, no Jackson Brown party,
Mm.
and Uma Thurman said, when the hell are we doing this movie? So he went back, read the 30 pages that he wrote years ago, and said, I got to do this. They they brought it to Miramax. Weinstein said, yep, let's do it. Within a month after they were going to start filming, she got pregnant. So Harvey
Mm.
Weinstein said, get a new actress. We can't hold on. He goes, nope. He goes, I'm waiting for Uma. Uma is the bride. Nobody else could do it. He even said, he goes, if Uma's father never met Uma's mother, there would never be a Kill Bill. That's how bad he wanted her.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't know if I mean there's rumors that are going around with those two dated. I'm not sure if that was around the time they were. I mean, obviously
Mhm.
not during Kill Bill because that's when she got pregnant with Ethan
Right.
Hawke's baby. But so I don't know like if that's the time when they were dating. He goes, no, I don't really care. I'll wait till they waited. But during that time, that's when he was getting all these other great actors together and getting all
Mm.
the locations. So he was doing a lot of work, but it took a long time for him to start filming. They offered him $40 million right off the bat. As soon as they saw that,
Wow.
yes, I got it right here. It started April 2001, and then after that, that's when he found Lucy Liu after he saw her in Shanghai Noon, and then it was originally supposed to be a Japanese character, and
Interesting.
she said he saw Lucy Liu in Shanghai Noon, and he goes, you know what? I'm gonna make her half Japanese, half Chinese, and half Asian American, and that's
Yeah.
why I love that scene where it's like,
Yes.
and anybody who brings it up, I'll cut your fucking head off.
Yeah, just like this fucker right here. Yeah, no, it's perfect. Yeah, I think I have heard that it is Uma Thurman's kind of like idea, or she kind of pushed
Yeah,
Tarantino to, put this film out and start creating it. So I mean, with her around, I feel like there has to be this kind of fire, underneath the both of them where they're like, it almost feels like a something that has to come out, for themselves because they were the original fans of it
oh,
to,
yeah.
to love it and to create it. And then now that so many of us love the film, I mean, it's perfect for them to come out with something else. And again, I don't think we necessarily have to get a three where we get Vivica Fox's daughter getting her revenge. Like we don't have to, jump into that and give like the full direction, but I mean, if we're gonna go old school samurai film vengeance, I mean,
Yeah.
what better story to give for that? I mean, it's perfect samurai old school vengeance story, you know, panned out.
That would sort of be great, where Vivica A. Fox's daughter goes, and then Uma Thurman's daughter sort of helps her mother out to get that would like that. That would be
To
pretty good.
see the two daughters fight, I mean, and just kind of have their own reasoning for it and not really caring for the other one's reasoning. Like, yeah, I don't care that my mom beat your mom. Like, I'm gonna kill you. You killed my mom, I think that's what makes great vengeance tales as well, because it's kind of like, there can be two amazing sides to it shown in this movie. I think we can get another kind of like 4-hour movie of where we're getting half Vivica A. Fox's daughters training her
Yep.
upbringing, that hatred that she has for Beatrix for murdering her mother, and then having, Beatrix's daughter's side of wanting to protect her mother and loving her mother for, coming after her and understanding later on in life that, she really rescued her from her father. And, having both of those coin, that side of the coin, and finally at the end them fighting, I think it's just kind of like, you know, fuck the feelings of everything else and the emotions. You know how they say it in the beginning of the film. You a warrior, closes their heart out to all emotions and feelings, and you just cut whoever's in front of you. So
I
it's
love it.
perfect. It's perfect.
And you know what? If Tarantino's not going to write it, Ortiz and Sarah are going to
Come
write it.
on, I think we can do it.
Oh,
I
we
think we
definitely
can
could.
do it. Yeah, let's get it done.
You and I have very similar tastes when it comes to movies, and except for Sisu, we'll discuss. But
Sisu, listen, Sisu was not bad. Sisu was a pretty great film. I have to say, the Nazi killing was just, I loved it. I did love that.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you don't like it as much as I did, that's fine. I just think it's funny because you're like,
No,
I kept on pushing that movie for you. And you're like, yes, and you're like, yeah, not too good.
no. Sisu was awesome. I really did enjoy Sisu. I actually really wanted to watch the second part, and I missed out watching it in theaters.
You missed it because you didn't go because you saw part one.
I was like, maybe I just wait for that one to go into the streaming, same as this one here. No, great films for anyone who hasn't watched Sisu. Awesome Nazi killing film. It's a good one. It's a great action film.
Well, for me, it's just a fun movie because there's really no
Yeah,
plot
it's
to it at all.
fun. It
It's
is.
just over the top killing and everything. That's why I liked it. But
Yes, it's awesome. It is awesome. No,
but
it's a
I
great film.
think you and I have to do Kill Bill Part Three. We got because we like a lot of the same movies. When now that you and I have a lot of the same references to some of these old movies that we could bring, just like he did, bring that mentality to the future film.
Exactly.
Yep, I
Yeah, I
like.
think if in a perfect world, Tarantino is working on that exact film right now. So we're gonna get it soon, maybe 2030, 2035.
All right.
I'm being hopeful.
And knowing the way you are, you probably already took that day off from work.
Oh yeah, I put it on the schedule. I said, "Hey guys, it's somewhere around this year frame. I'll let you know."
I'm gonna need that weekend off in
Yeah,
2030.
whatever weekend that is, yeah, I'll need that off.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I want to talk about this because we mentioned, like, in the very beginning, Uma was all psyched up. She's the one that kept pushing it. She's the one who came up with the idea for the bride. Then comes the brothel scene, which was filmed in a real brothel, and those were real prostitutes. But the
Hmm.
scene I'm talking about is where she's driving, and she wasn't supposed to be driving that day. She says, I'm kind of afraid. Can you get a stunt woman? And Joey Bell, who I
Yes.
met, she's a great stunt woman. She does all Uma's stunts for that movie, and she was in. He liked her so much he put her in Death Proof, and then he also put her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But she was off that day. The stunt coordinator was off that day, so he said, "Uma, come on, you could do it. You could drive."
Oh,
Unfortunately, she
Luis,
lost
man.
control of the car, had a concussion, and she held a grudge until 2018. There was a video that came out saying that, yeah, I'm still pissed off at him, which I don't know the whole story, but nobody put a gun to her head and said, you got to drive. I just, knowing the way Quentin is, he's probably just so enthusiastic. Come on, you got to do this. Come on, it's going to be so great. Oh my God, it's going to look so real. Come on, you can
Yep.
actually show your face. You don't have to be Zoe Bell. I mean, like I said, I wasn't there, but I'm just
Yep.
guessing how I've seen him. So I don't know why she's that mad that she chose to drive and then she got hurt. But
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's one of those stories that does go around. That you, I feel like a lot of Kill Bill fans have heard, or at least people who know around the film or Uma Thurman for that time, because she really, she did get, pretty hurt pretty bad. Yeah, it's one of those things where I think actors they kind of take that extra step to go all out for the movie because they have the passion for it, and I feel like it was a passion film, and I'm sure that's something that she was willing to kind of take the risk on. And I'm sure when you get hurt, it's obviously you're not going to feel too great about it and not be too happy about it. So I understand her for that for sure.
yeah,
Um, so I get there's two sides to that, but I'm glad now they're on better terms and they've kind of, realized that, they've both really enjoyed making the film and that's something that they can kind of, move to the past and, I'm glad that she's okay now and that, they hashed that out.
oh, me too. Yeah, and like I
Yeah.
said, you and I will never know the real conversation, what happened.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, it's a shame that it did happen. But I was surprised that she held that much of a grudge for that long of a time. But I'm
For
glad.
fair.
I think that, like I said, maybe I mean, if he is only making one more movie, maybe hopefully that would be the perfect way to end it. Like his career would, in the movies anyway, would Kill Bill 3. and just
That would be amazing.
continue
That
the
would be the
saga.
perfect way to top it off.
Because most of the people are still relatively young. I mean, even now, it doesn't even matter. I mean, with AI, you could make people look 30 again, but still, I mean, I wouldn't, I know
Yeah.
he would never do that, and I wouldn't want them to do that, but
Mhm.
I think they're still, I mean, plus he can make the movie, as we mentioned, like maybe a revenge flick about the kids, and then they could play the older, sort of like a
Yeah.
Creed with Rocky, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like even if we were to go into the movie's time frame, going into like real time now,
Yeah,
to where the film would lead up till today's days, and I feel like the girls would be at an appropriate age and everyone would be aged at, where they what they would look like now anyways. So, we don't have to get anything where we need Uma Thurman fighting and doing crazy stuff again. If they decide to do that, that's cool, if she's able to get that done. But, we can still have different actors just set in this same, Kill Bill world. Um, and Tarantino's movies all kind of fall into the same world.
yeah,
It's all the same universe, where all his movies kind of fall into that same space. So yeah, they can do some different actors and still incorporate the old ones, but still, allow them to be in the film, but you know,
yeah,
just adding
exactly.
to the story.
Yeah. And it's funny because originally he said he wanted to make maybe like a fun 90-minute action flick. He wrote over 200 pages for his screenplays, and screenplays normally have that. And the filming took 155 days. It was 3 months over schedule and budget. But I love the fact that Miramax by that time was that his what third film, I think, Kill Bill. Yeah, because Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, his
Oh,
fourth film
yeah,
or
fourth
fifth
film,
film, maybe. Yeah,
fifth. Yeah,
yeah.
so whatever it was. So by that time they knew that who he was, and they gave him the amount of time and money to go over budget and let him make the film that he did. So it's because I know most times like it's similar to when Spielberg did Jaws, but that time Spielberg was a nobody. He did maybe one. He did Sugarland Express and one TV movie named Duel, which is great. But they were kept on threatening. It's like if you go over budget, we're gonna have to pull the plug on. We can't make this. You gotta get the shark working soon. We're not gonna be able to
Uh,
finish this movie. But luckily, they let him finish it and make the movie they did. And I said, 25 years later, we got the whole bloody affair.
wow, yeah. And I'm glad. And it's still one of those things where like even till today's date, like we're, 20 years later, 21 years later, um, like it still fits so perfectly. And I think that more than ever now, I think there's it's the perfect time to release a movie like this. We've seen crazy ultraviolent movies. I mean, Terrifier was like one of the most crazy, like violent. If you're talking slasher, I mean, if they can do that, I think that Tarantino can really see his vision out fully and release an ultraviolent, samurai film to, what he wants it to be. And I think people trust him now. He can make it as long as he wants. He can make two, three parts. He can do what he pleases at this point, and I think anyone would be happy to give him the funding to make the film if he needed it.
Yeah. I know this is about Kill Bill, but it's in the same vein. So I want to ask you about this because I loved Hateful Eight, and I know they came out with an extended version, but it was done in parts. And I think you did. You see all of that?
For Hateful Eight, I believe I did see the extended version when I originally watched it because it took me some time to watch that film.
Yep.
But when I did finally get to it, I think they released the extended version. I ended up watching that one.
Was there similar to Kill Bill? Was there a lot more added, or was there a lot of changes to it?
You know, I couldn't compare it only because I didn't watch the original without the
Oh,
the extended. But when I look at the extended version of Kill Bill Volume 1, the scenes that were added in 1 were a lot more compared to 2. I
yeah.
think 2 was almost edited slightly differently. But really volume one is what added the most scenes and really changed a lot. And I want to say there's at least an additional maybe 30 minutes or so of scenes plus the anime.
Yeah.
So volume one definitely added the most.
Yeah, I think you're right because since I watched it right after, I was trying to see if there was anything different, and you're right. The second half really wasn't too much of a difference at all. But
Yeah, it felt like the same movie. I almost thought about seeing it twice, and I really did want to see it twice, but my fiance stopped me. She was like, "You sound like a madman." I'm like, "People watch movies twice all the time," but I was gonna watch just the first volume,
yeah,
just that first part, because I figured once I watched the second volume. I really didn't see anything too different. It would have felt very strange to watch Volume 1 without watching Volume 2. It would,
yeah.
it's like not really finishing the movie. But in reality, Volume 1 had all the extra scenes added on to it.
Yep. Well, I'm just as insane as you are because if I was with you, I would have been like, let's do it because I would have
Yeah,
seen it
I
back to back.
know. I'd watch the full thing again, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. Like I said, I saw it 2 days before. I saw it again and I was just as enthused, just as
Yeah.
into it, never bored. And I was hanging, and my brother kept on saying to me, he was like, oh man, I wish you didn't just see it. I'm like, I don't care. I said, I'm enjoying it just like I did the
Oh
other
yeah,
day.
it felt like a 40-minute movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Insane.
Well, is there anything else you want to add about Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair that we didn't talk about?
Besides the deleted scenes we really talked about, um, I mean, Crazy 88 seemed
Oh yeah.
tremendous. I love the full blood of it. I did notice a few parts. I think they had water coming out on a few scenes where I noticed like it didn't really have like the blood effect. So I think they kind of had the idea of going black and white
Yeah.
for the film. So I think they kind of spared a couple of like the blood scenes to kind of have just like
Ah,
water come out,
that's
which I
fun.
thought was cool though. Um, and yeah, besides that, I mean, for the film itself, best theater experience of 2025,
All right.
I will say. It really did feel like the shortest movie ever. And being like a 4-hour movie, is definitely up there for me. So I give it a 10 out
Yep.
of 10.
I give it a
Can't beat it.
Fonzie as well. Hey.
There you go. A.
Did you? All right. So I'm guessing this is your favorite Tarantino movie.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say it's definitely up there for it's like my number one, I'd say, movie of all time.
Wow.
When I look at something like Lady Snowblood, I've grown such a deeper
Yeah.
appreciation for the older samurai films because that movie was awesome with the action and the story, and it makes me appreciate those 70s samurai films. So I'm gonna watch some more, and I'll probably watch the second part of uh Lady Snowblood tonight.
I get right. Yeah. I'm probably gonna watch it maybe not tonight, but tomorrow because I've been when I was doing my research, they kept on showing it over and over again. I have not seen that movie in years, but I remember that scene where she's got the umbrella and they're trying to stab her. It's such a
Yes.
yeah.
So
It's
amazing.
but yeah. I like I said, in the 70s, I grew up watching all those movies. I loved all those movies. I'm a huge fan. That's why I loved watching Kill Bill because it brought to the present all the movies I grew up watching. And
For sure.
obviously, because I mean, you know the story of him. He worked at a video store named Video Archives when he was a teenager with he and Roger Avery, who was another great director.
That's
And
right.
all he did was watch movies all day. That'd be like the perfect job. Just,
Yeah, no, he literally I think that's what made him who he is today, and and for all of his creative outlets, it's come from that. So we have to appreciate that, and without that we wouldn't have Tarantino in these awesome films. So thank you.
and he said that. He said, he goes, I don't really need to go to film school. And my film school was watching all these movies. And that's where I learned everything.
Yeah, that's enough.
One last thing that we'll talk about, because I want your opinion on this. He made a comment. He said, the best directors in the world can do action films. He goes, if you can't be a good director and not be able to do action films. What's your opinion on that? Do you think that there's great directors that can just do a great drama, comedy?
Yeah, I do think so. I think if you're talking about if a director, if you're putting them in a position to where they have to make an action film and they're unable to do so, I guess you could raise the argument of they might not be a good director, but I think action requires a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think it requires that drama because you need something to fight for,
Mhm.
or something to fight against. So there needs to be that drama. There needs to be love. There needs to be horror. There needs to be, a lot of different aspects of cinema in that. So I could see that. But also I think there's a lot of film directors that I'm sure have their own niches and that can create something on their own without having to put out action. So I don't know if I can agree on that fully, but I'm not a director, so he might know more at the end of the day. So, but I don't know. I feel like anyone can make a good film without action, but I can see how action can be something to be proud of making,
Oh yeah.
you know.
No, definitely. When you see those, I mean, that's why Wu Ping did such a great job. And I know he's been
Oh yeah.
like I said, I saw Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I enjoyed it, but and it was good. I used to always call it Crouching Tiger, Hidden Wire because like they,
Yeah, with all the dudes floating
yeah,
in the
yeah,
air.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just that one scene alone with the Crazy 88s was, I mean, he earned his money right there.
Yes, for sure.
I want to say I had it written down somewhere. I think it took like over a month just to film that scene. It could be a little bit longer, but it took a long time. Just
Wow.
I can imagine just put getting everything together. And as I was looking at it, Gordon Liu played Pai Mei and Johnny Mo. Johnny Mo was the squad leader. So if you know the people by name, he was definitely
Okay.
he's got the class like "Shut
Yes,
came running out.
yes. Yes, I love that guy. I think he gets his foot chopped off, is it? And then he like falls into the pool.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
him.
awesome. I would love to go out that way.
I know. If you have to pick a way to go out,
Yeah,
you better way
cut a
myself.
foot off, fall into a pool and drown in my own blood.
Uh, on that note, I think it's the best way to end the show.
Yeah, right.
Can't think of a better way to end the show than that.
Exactly.
All right, well, Louis, it's so great to have you on the show. So great seeing you
Yes,
again.
sir.
Got
Thank
to have
you.
you back. We got to pick some more movies and just talk about that because I said I could talk about movies all night and all day, and you and I have very
Oh
similar
yeah.
tastes. So we'll talk off the air, and I'll have you on the show again sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I love being on here and just talking films, so I'll be back again.
All right. That wraps up the latest episode of Real Talk. A huge thanks goes out to friend and Kill Bill aficionado, Luis Ortiz, for taking time out of his extremely busy schedule to be a guest on my show and share his expertise on this great film. Another huge thanks goes out to editor extraordinaire John Bristol of the award-winning Elman Productions for always doing a superb job editing this
Yes,
show
sir.
each and every week and making it available to all on YouTube. I am also grateful to Rob Bull and Al Coles for all they do to make my show available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, as well as a cable station in Connecticut. And lastly, but definitely not least, I need to thank you, the viewer, for always tuning in. Enjoy your day, everyone.